The 1950s. What a great time for sci-fi movies, and especially movies with flying saucers and alien invasions. Who doesn't love them? In this video, we're going to cover our favorite 1950s sci-fi movies that prominently feature UFOs, flying saucers, and alien encounters. So get ready for a journey back to the golden age of sci-fi cinema. Prepare to revisit the classics that made us look to the skies with equal parts wonder and paranoia. Fantasy, sci-fi, horror, rerun zone. The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951.
The universe grows smaller every day, and the threat of aggression by any group, anywhere, can no longer be tolerated.
Who can disagree that this film shouldn't be at the top of the list of all-time greats? This classic film introduced the concept of peaceful aliens coming to Earth with a message: get your shit together or face total destruction. In a time when Cold War paranoia was in full swing, out of the sky comes a flying saucer that lands right near the White House. This movie introduces us to Klaatu, an extraterrestrial with one simple request: stop killing yourselves, or I'll do the job for you. Klaatu's sidekick, the robotic Gort, has the power to vaporize just about anything, so yeah, not a guy you want to mess with. When Klaatu is shot by a panicked soldier, the power of Gort is unleashed, swiftly neutralizing the threat. Now under guard, Klaatu escapes, blending into human society as Mr. Carpenter. He befriends a widow, Helen, and her young son Bobby, while seeking out a brilliant scientist, Professor Barnhart, to deliver his warning to humanity. In a demonstration of his immense power, Klaatu decides to halt all electrical activity on Earth, sending a clear signal of the consequences if mankind ignores his message. Klaatu tells Helen that if anything should happen to him, she must seek out Gort and say the words Klaatu Barada Nikto. The army tracks Klaatu down and kills him, so Helen goes to the saucer to find Gort, who retrieves Klaatu's body after she speaks those words and brings him back to life, but only temporarily. In a final plea to world leaders, Klaatu delivers an ultimatum: join the peaceful interplanetary alliance or face total annihilation. The choice is left to humanity. War of the Worlds, 1953.
What is that gizmo?
You think that gizmo is a machine from another planet?
Better get word to the authorities.
This classic movie brings H.G. Wells' novel from 1898 to life, but with a 1950s update. The story kicks off when a large object crashes near the small town of Linda Rosa, California. Dr. Clayton Forrester, an atomic scientist, is called in to investigate. At the crash site, he meets Sylvia Van Buren and her uncle, Pastor Collins. As they get acquainted during a town square dance, an alien hatch opens at the crash site. When three men approach waving a white flag, they're incinerated by the Martian's heat ray. Soon, reports come in of similar Martian cylinders landing around the world, with cities being destroyed. U.S. Marines surround the crash site as three Martian war machines rise menacingly from the cylinder. Pastor Collins tries to communicate with the aliens, but is instantly vaporized. The military's weapons are useless against the Martian force fields, and they counterattack with devastating death rays. The Martians are on the verge of global domination when the US government authorizes the use of an atomic bomb, but even that doesn't stop the invaders. This movie is truly groundbreaking with its use of special effects that were ahead of their time and won an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. The film quality degraded over the years, but it was fully restored to its original glory in 2018, and you can now view the fantastic special effects as they were meant to be seen. If you've never seen this movie or haven't watched it in a while, grab some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy. The Flying Saucer, 1950.
You're not trying to tell me you really believe there's a flying saucer.
I'm not sure. There must be a spark of fire somewhere under all that smoke.
Well, even if there is one, Hank, what good is it?
Well, if it's true what the expert witnesses say, it'll outfly anything we can put in the air.
In 1950, at the dawn of the Cold War and UFO hysteria, The Flying Saucer was the first feature film to tackle the mystery of alien spacecraft. But here's the twist. There are no aliens in the film, just spies, government agents, and a secret that could tip the scales of global power. We follow Mike Trent, a wealthy playboy summoned to Alaska by his former intelligence boss, under the guise of a vacation. But this isn't a pleasure trip. Reports of a mysterious flying saucer, possibly a weapon, have surfaced, and the Soviets are after it. Alongside the resourceful journalist/spy V. Langley, Mike embarks on a tense game of cat and mouse through the icy wilderness, dodging enemy agents and uncovering a shocking truth. The saucer isn't from space, but a top-secret U.S. experiment. While the flying saucer doesn't deliver little green men, it taps into the era's paranoia and sets the stage for a decade of UFO-themed cinema. It's a film that took the first leap into uncharted sci-fi waters. Before the next movie, if you like these trips down memory lane, please hit that subscribe button or consider becoming a channel member. It keeps this passion project going strong and means the world to me. Thanks. And now, back to the show. Invaders from Mars, 1953.
Chief Barrows told my
I don't
wife...
care what anybody told her. The boy stays here.
What has he been telling you? He's been reading those trashy science fiction magazines. He's completely out of control.
One stormy night, young David's world is turned upside down when he sees a strange, glowing object in the sky. From his bedroom window, he watches in disbelief as a flying saucer descends into the sandpit behind his house, vanishing without a trace. Filled with dread and curiosity, David tries to warn his parents, but his father, a respected scientist, dismisses it as a dream, until he investigates the site for himself. When his father returns, something is disturbingly different. A strange red mark on the back of his neck is just the beginning. His once warm and loving demeanor has been replaced with a cold, almost mechanical detachment. It's not long before other townspeople begin to exhibit the same eerie behavior. Neighbors, friends, and even authority figures who once seemed trustworthy. They all carry that same mark, and their personalities have changed in inexplicable ways, leaving David isolated and unsure of who he can trust. As strange and dangerous events unfold, David realizes that something far more terrifying than he ever imagined is happening in his quiet little town. With paranoia spreading and danger closing in, David must unravel the terrifying mystery. What lies beneath the sandpit? And what's happening to the people he thought he knew? It Came from Outer Space, 1953. In the sleepy little town of Sandrock, Arizona, the night sky lights up with a spectacular meteorite crash. John Putnam, an amateur astronomer, and schoolteacher Ellen Fields witness the event, but what they find is no ordinary rock from space. It's a spacecraft, and its alien occupants were not what anyone expected. As locals begin to vanish, only to return somehow changed, it's clear that something sinister is going on. Putnam ventures alone into an abandoned mine looking for the ship's inhabitants, where he finally discovers the truth. The aliens, jellyfish-like beings with the ability to mimic humans, have crash-landed on Earth. In a story based on author Ray Bradbury's original treatment for a film titled The Meteor, It Came from Outer Space is a sci-fi horror film with a twist ending that'll leave you wondering about the aliens' final fate. Killers from Space, 1954.
What is this place?
Who are you? What are you doing to me? Can't you speak? Who are you?
Here, we follow Dr. Douglas Martin, an intrepid scientist who's abducted by aliens with impossibly large, bulging eyes. Think ping pong balls glued to faces, giving them an insect-like comical appearance that's more laugh-worthy than menacing. These extraterrestrials have grand plans for Earth's conquest, but the details are as shaky as their prosthetic eyes. Using pseudo-scientific jargon that would make any modern scientist wince, the aliens plot to unleash mutated creatures to wipe out humanity. Dr. Martin, desperate to expose their plan, grapples with a strange memory loss that only deepens the mystery. The film's science is delightfully nonsensical, straying so far from reality that it becomes its own brand of entertainment. Concepts like atomic energy and mutation are tossed around with little understanding, but the sincerity of the cast, led by Peter Graves as Dr. Martin, keeps things moving with a level of seriousness that enhances the absurdity. Despite its flaws, or maybe because of them, Killers from Space has a unique charm that captures the era's enthusiasm for space and science fiction, making it a quintessential B movie that's as unintentionally funny as it is endearing. For fans of vintage sci-fi, it's a delightful time capsule of 1950s imagination. Plan 9 from Outer Space, 1959.
What do you think will be the next obstacle the Earth people will put in our way?
Well, as long as they can think, we'll have our problems. But those whom we're using cannot think. They are the dead.
In Plan 9 from Outer Space, aliens decide humanity's explosive ambitions threaten the entire cosmos. So they resort to Plan 9, a scheme to resurrect Earth's dead and plunge society into chaos. This infamous sci-fi horror hybrid was directed by Ed Wood, often hailed as the worst director of all time. The film features Bela Lugosi's last role, though most of his scenes consist of him just wandering around, with later scenes filled in by a body double who didn't resemble him at all. The production choices became legendary. Flying saucers? They're pie tins dangling on fishing lines. The tombstones wobble like cardboard cutouts because that's exactly what they are. Dialogue is stiff with lines that sound like they were plucked from an elementary school play. The cast included cult figures like the ghoulish Vampira and the wrestler-turned-actor Tor Johnson, whose exaggerated expressions and stilted acting only add to the film's bizarre charm. Today, Plan 9 is celebrated as a so-bad-it's-good masterpiece, where every scene feels like an accidental homage to the pitfalls of low-budget cinema. There's a strange allure in its flaws, inviting audiences to laugh along with its unintentional hilarity and ambitious absurdity. This Island Earth, 1955.
We'd like you to join our team, as you might say, at once. You'll make arrangements to leave immediately.
Wait a moment. I didn't say...
At 5 o'clock Wednesday morning, our plane will land at your field. It will wait exactly 5 minutes and then depart.
Whether I'm aboard or not?
In this 1955 sci-fi classic, we follow the adventures of Dr. Cal Meacham, a top-notch physicist with a knack for getting into intergalactic escapades. After receiving mysterious components and assembling a device called an interocitor, think of it as the 1950s version of a Zoom call with aliens, Cal finds himself in contact with Exeter, a peculiar fellow with a forehead that could rival a drive-in movie screen. Exeter invites Cal to join a clandestine research project, which, unsurprisingly, turns out to be more than just your average science club. Upon arrival at a secretive facility, Cal reunites with Dr. Ruth Adams, an old flame who seems to have forgotten their past, perhaps the ultimate cold shoulder. As Cal and Ruth dig deeper, they uncover that Exeter and his cohorts are actually aliens from the planet Metaluna, seeking Earth's help in their war against the sinister Zagons. Before you can say, "Take me to your leader," Cal and Ruth are whisked away to Metaluna, a planet under siege, featuring landscapes that look like a lava lamp gone haywire. The film culminates in a daring escape back to Earth, with our heroes narrowly avoiding becoming space dust. This Island Earth stands out for its vibrant Technicolor visuals and special effects that were groundbreaking for its time. While some modern viewers might chuckle at the film's earnestness and the Metaluna's fashion choices, it remains a beloved piece of sci-fi cinema history. UFO, 1956 documentary.
By the way, there's a magazine fella coming out here from New York to do a story. I want you to set up appointments with the people he'll want to see.
Right. What magazine is he representing?
Life.
What are they after?
He's going to write a piece about unidentified flying objects.
In this 1956 semi-documentary, Director Winston Jones takes us on a journey through the early days of America's UFO craze. The film kicks off with the 1947 sightings, including pilot Kenneth Arnold's famous encounter and the puzzling Mantell incident. These events set the stage for a nation both fascinated and spooked by mysterious objects in the sky. Our guide through this celestial mystery is Albert M. Chop, an Air Force Public Information Officer stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Initially a skeptic, Chop fields countless questions from the press and public about these flying saucers. As he delves deeper, interviewing experts like a former German rocket scientist, his doubt starts to waver. By the time he's working with Project Blue Book in Washington, D.C., Chop's skepticism has transformed into a belief that these unidentified flying objects might just be otherworldly visitors. The film doesn't just rely on reenactments. It showcases actual UFO footage, including the intriguing Mariana and Great Salt Lake films. It culminates with the dramatic 1952 Washington, D.C. sightings where unexplained radar blips had everyone from generals to journalists scratching their heads. While the film presents itself as a factual account, it's worth noting that some of its content has been met with skepticism over the years. Nonetheless, it remains a fascinating snapshot of a time when the nation looked to the skies and wondered, are we alone? For those interested in vintage takes on the UFO phenomenon, this film offers a blend of documented events and period perspectives. Not of This Earth, 1957. Directed by prolific Roger Corman, Not of This Earth combines sci-fi horror with a touch of noir to tell the tale of an alien invasion in a uniquely unsettling way. The story centers on a mysterious man named Mr. Johnson, who wears dark glasses and speaks in an emotionless tone. He's come to Earth from the dying planet Divana, and his mission is chilling: harvest human blood to save his people. Lacking the expected ray guns or spaceships, Mr. Johnson instead uses his hypnotic powers and telepathic abilities to control others and carry out his deadly mission. The film's budget constraints are evident, but Corman's direction makes the most of its limitations, focusing on eerie atmospheres and intense close-ups that highlight Mr. Johnson's sinister presence. With black sunglasses that conceal his unearthly eyes, he exudes an unsettling, almost vampire-like quality, adding to the horror as he preys on unsuspecting humans. Not of This Earth has since become a cult classic thanks to its intriguing concept and eerie mood. It's a standout in 1950 sci-fi where Corman's efficient direction and the film's mix of sci-fi and horror give it an edge, making it both an enjoyable B-movie and a dark commentary on humanity's fears of invasion and disease. Invasion of the Saucermen, 1957.
What was that?
I don't know. It happened so fast.
I didn't see it at all.
This little gem is a real campy romp in the low-budget sci-fi world of the 1950s. Look for Frank Gorshin in one of his first film roles as Joe Gruen, a local drunk who first spots an alien spacecraft landing in the woods. When teenagers Johnny Carter and Joan Hayden go out for a romantic trip to Lover's Lane, they accidentally strike one of the aliens who's walking in the middle of a dark country road. The creature appears to be dead, but its hand is still alive as sharp, needle-like objects extend from its fingers and puncture the teen's tires. Meanwhile, Joe Gruen stumbles upon the alien's body and envisions fame and fortune. But when he encounters the saucer's other occupants, they inject him with a lethal dose of alcohol. Pure alien justice. The aliens, now short one member, swap Joe's body for their dead comrade and frame Johnny Carter for manslaughter. The aliens are cool-looking little bug-eyed monsters, and we're never really sure what they're doing here, but it doesn't really matter. It's a fun little flick that's the very definition of a 1950s sci-fi B-movie. It's part sci-fi, part horror, and part comedy, all wrapped up in one. Oh, and watch out for that cow. Battle in Outer Space, 1959. This one is a Japanese sci-fi classic that captures the era's fascination with interplanetary warfare. Set in the near future of 1965, Earth faces bizarre attacks from an unknown alien force. Massive objects are mysteriously lifted, oceans turn turbulent, and Earth's space station is obliterated. At an international conference in Japan, scientists determined these events are caused by beings from planet Natal, who intend to make Earth a colony. The UN prepares a counterstrike, launching 2 SPIP rocket ships on a daring mission to the moon, where they suspect that the alien base is located. The journey is perilous, with the Natal aliens attacking the ships with remote-controlled meteors. Upon arrival, the astronauts discover a lunar base, leading to a climatic battle involving futuristic weaponry, powerful heat rays, and moon rovers. One of the crew, under alien mind control, sacrifices himself to ensure his team's escape. This film, featuring groundbreaking effects by Eiji Tsuburaya, embodies Cold War anxieties and celebrates human resilience against overwhelming odds. With its imaginative designs and battle scenes, Battle in Outer Space remains a nostalgic favorite for sci-fi fans, showcasing Japan's influence on the genre's development. The Mysterians, 1957.
We are counting on your common sense and looking forward to a reasonable resolution.
This is yet another Japanese sci-fi adventure directed by Ishiro Honda, the mastermind behind Godzilla. The film kicks off with mysterious disasters near Mount Fuji, prompting an investigation led by astrophysicist Ryoichi Shiraishi and his friends. They soon encounter a highly advanced alien race, the Mysterians, who reveal they've come from a destroyed planet and now need a new home and human brides to ensure their species' survival. The film's Earthlings don't take kindly to these cosmic suitors, leading to an epic showdown between human military forces and the technologically superior Mysterians. Packed with futuristic weaponry, robot fighters, and impressive miniatures, the special effects, crafted by Eiji Tsuburaya, bring an extra layer of spectacle to the interplanetary conflict. With a plot that blends social themes and thrilling action, the Mysterians capture both the post-war fascination with space and Japan's emerging entrance into the sci-fi genre. It's a film that feels both grand and nostalgic, transporting viewers to a time when aliens with big helmets and Earthlings with bigger attitudes fought for the fate of the planet. The Cosmic Man, 1959.
Stop. One more move and I'll fire.
This is a thought-provoking science fiction film directed by Herbert S. Green that explores humanity's reaction to an alien visitor. The story unfolds when a UFO, appearing as a mysterious white sphere, lands in Stone Canyon, California. Military personnel, led by Colonel Matthews, and scientists, including Dr. Carl Sorensen, investigate the object, which hovers above the ground, seemingly immovable. One night, a translucent figure emerges from the sphere and, without malice, reveals a message of peace and unity for Earth. However, the military, viewing the alien as a potential threat, attempts to capture it. Meanwhile, a disguised Cosmic Man befriends Ken, the wheelchair-bound son of a local widow, and even learns chess from him. In a dramatic finale, the Cosmic Man sacrifices himself to avoid conflict, but not before healing Ken, allowing him to walk again. Despite its low budget, The Cosmic Man addresses Cold War fears and urges viewers to consider coexistence. Its peaceful alien visitor reflects a hopeful view of humanity's future in space, making it a meaningful entry in 1950s sci-fi cinema. Earth vs. the Flying Saucers, 1956.
Connect me with Dr. Marvin's lab. Line's dead.
This film is a classic alien invasion story that follows Dr. Russell Marvin and his wife Carol, who are working on Project Skyhook, a satellite launch program. However, their rockets keep mysteriously failing, and soon the culprit is revealed: a fleet of flying saucers piloted by an extraterrestrial race intent on conquering the Earth. The aliens demand Earth's surrender, but Marvin develops a secret weapon to repel the invasion, just as the saucers begin their assault on major cities, including Washington, D.C. What sets this film apart is its groundbreaking special effects, crafted by the legendary Ray Harryhausen. Using stop-motion animation, Harryhausen created the iconic spinning saucers that became a staple of 1950s sci-fi. The scenes of these saucers toppling the Washington Monument and other landmarks have become unforgettable moments in cinematic history. While the film's characters are fairly typical for the genre, its spectacular destruction scenes and clever blending of live action with miniatures make it a fan favorite. The film's design of the saucers was even inspired by actual UFO sightings, adding a layer of realism that captured audience imaginations. If you like classic movies, TV, cartoons, and nostalgia, you're going to love it here at Rerun Zone, so hit that subscribe button on your way out, and make sure to check out one of these 2 videos. This is Rich from Rerun Zone, wishing you a good night.